Vasu. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Shinvatam Swakatah Krishna Punyashravana Kirtana Vidyantasto Hyabhadrani Vidhunoti Sahritsatam Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Vrattama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Mukam karoti vachalam pangum mangaite girim yatkripatamaham vande Shri-Gurum Dinatarinam. Hare Krishna everyone. We continue studying the 13th chapter. The title of the chapter, one second. Yeah. So the title of the chapter is Dhṛtarāṣṭra quits home. I said the context last week, so I'll not repeat. Vidura, who was thrown out of the kingdom of Kaurava, returns back after having heard from Maitreya about the self-realization, which is covered in Canto 4 and 5. He comes back, he returns home. His purpose is mainly to inspire Dhṛtarāṣṭra to quit home. He thinks that Dhṛtarāṣṭra is simply wasting his lifetime staying back at Vidura's place, at Pandava's place. It is high time that he leaves and pursues self-realization. That is how great souls think. They always look for the welfare of the others. Even though on the other side, he was actually insulted by Duryodhana, the son of Dhṛtarāṣṭra, and Dhṛtarāṣṭra kept quiet at the time. He didn't even interfere to stop the injustice towards Vidura. But again, considering him to be his brother and his welfare, Vidura comes back to inspire him to leave the palace and pursue spiritual life. So we discussed how Vidura's last few verses, how Vidura was received very cordially by the family members, and his purpose is very clear. He is coming here to inspire his brother to leave the home. Right? And today we'll cover from verses 15 to 16. Just quickly. So these are the verses we covered. After receiving knowledge from Maitreya, Vidura returned Hastinapura. Inhabitants meet in great delight, exchanged obeisances, offered sitting accommodations and reception, sumptuously fed, given sufficient rest, comfortably seated. This is all to Vidura. Right? Yudhishthira recollects Vidura's protection and inquires about his travels. So again, he glorifies Vidura's visit to Tirthas. When a great devotee visits a Tirtha, actually it is the Tirtha that gets purified. This famous verse, Bhavatvida Bhagavata Tirtha Bhuta Swayam Vibho Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani Swanthastena Gadabrita. It's a very famous verse. It is not that the pure devotee gets purified by visiting a Tirtha. It is the Tirtha that gets purified by the visit of pure devotee. And then Yudhishthira Maharaj inquired about his visit to Dwarka and how are Krishna and Yadavas, to which Vidura would not answer because he knows very well that Krishna has already left the world, and all the Yadus also got annihilated. He didn't reveal those details because that was not his purpose. And in time, everybody will know about it. So he didn't want to be the messenger for that unpalatable news. And he is a great soul, self-realized. He just wanted to benefit others. That was the purpose. Now let's start 15th verse. So 15th verse is where we stopped. Vidura is actually Yamaraj in his past life. That part will be revealed in this verse, 15th verse. Let's read from there. Abhibrad Aryamadandam
Abhibrat Aryamadandam
Yathavad Aghakareshu
Yathavat Agaha Kareshu
Yavad Dadhara Sudratvam
Yavadhadara Sudratvam
Sapadvarsha Satam Yama.
Sapadvarsha Satam Yamaha.
Please read. Prabhu.
As long as Vidura played the part of the Shudra being cursed by Manduka Muni, Aryama officiated at the post of Yamraj to punish those who committed sinful acts.
So Vidura in the current life he is a Sudra because he was born of the maid of the mother of Dhṛtarāṣṭra. Dhṛtarāṣṭra, Dhṛtarāṣṭra, Pandu, and Vidura are like brothers. But Dhṛtarāṣṭra and Pandu were born to the king's wife, while Vidura was born to the maid servant of the king's wife. So he is considered Sudra. But however, who is Vidura? Vidura was actually Yamaraja in his past life. But he was cursed by Manduka Muni for the sin of hurting an insect as a child. Manduk Muni, when he was a child, he hurts an insect. For that, he was being ordered for a big punishment, to which Manduk Muni gets angry and he curses Yamaraj, by which he becomes a Sudra in the current life. And in the interim, the Yamaraj's job of taking punishing giving the proper punishment for people is actually taken up by Aryama. Aryama is the head of Pitruloka. So temporarily he is reinstated. Aryama was reinstated in the position of Yamaraja, while Yamaraja takes the sinful reaction for punishing Manduk Muni for killing the insect. Right? So he is temporarily born in the material world as Vidura, but he is going to go back and be re-established as Yamaraj again. So one may wonder how Vidura, who is a Sudra, can instruct a Kshatriya, the brother Dhṛtarāṣṭra. Because in the next few verses we'll hear how Dhṛtarāṣṭra was instructed by Vidura. So one may wonder, but actually, because of the association of so Vidura was actually taught lessons by Maitreya Rishi. Because of the association, it's as good as he's initiated by Maitreya Rishi, and he was instructed on the path of self-realization. So even though he is born as Sudra, it does not count because he is already a Brahmana by virtue of his spiritual connection with Rishi Maitreya. That is the reason Prabhupada mentions in his purport. The other reason is, even though he is Sudra in the current life, who is he? He is actually incarnation of Yamaraj. Yamaraj is actually one of the 12 Mahajanas who knows perfectly the spiritual path. Right? He is at the level of all the other great Mahajanas like Brahma, Narada, Shiva, Kapila. So Prabhupada qualifies why Vidura is actually qualified to teach Dhṛtarāṣṭra in this purport.
Prabhu, I have a question. So when you said expansion of Yamaraj, so how does the demigod does that they expand? They do take expansion, or they give up that life and come to this life and then go back again, or how?
Yeah, he gave up that life. I think he Yeah, he is not there anymore. Exactly, it's not mentioned how he came down.
So
Because in demigod planets there is no death, so you disappear from there. That's all. So you will, yeah.
but they don't take expansion, right? Or is it, or the one can do expansion as a living entity?
Living entity can expand by mystic yoga up to seven forms. That
Oh,
is, yeah. That is why we see some, sometimes some devotees are a mix of some other devotees. Like for example, Brahma, sorry,
Vishaka and Ramananda.
lot of them. Actually, I'm thinking about our Namacharya, Haridas Thakur.
Dhṛtarāṣṭra Thakur, right?
The
Brahmaji.
combination of both Prahalad Maharaj and Brahmaji.
No, no, no.
It's also a combination. So things like that are possible. We can't understand those.
Got it. Okay.
Then there is one more following question that comes in mind. When Vidura comes as Yamaraj here, who is performing his duty?
Yeah, that is the verse mentioned, no? Aryama. Aryama officiated at the post of Yamaraj to punish those who committed sinful acts. So temporarily he was the in charge. Aryama. Aryama is the head of Pitraloka. Aryama is one of the Aryama is one of the Aryama is, I don't exactly remember. Yamaraj is a Aditya. Aryama, I'm not very sure.
Oh, I see. I see. Got it. Got it.
Aryama was appointed for that purpose. Really mentioned.
So there's one more question, Prabhu. Was Yamraj was also a Yudhishthir Maharaj as well as the Vidur, or?
Oh, Yamaraj Amsha is Yudhishthira Maharaj. He is not Yamaraj himself.
Oh, okay. And Vidur is a Yamraj himself.
He's the kind of semi descent.
Got it. Got it. Now clear. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yudhishthiro Labdharajyo
Yudhishthir
Yudhishthiro Labdharājyo
Drishtva Pautram Kulandaram
Drushtva
Drishtva Pautram
Kulandaram
Kulandaram
Bhratbhir Roka Palabhir
Bhradrir Loka Palar
Bhradriloka
Mumude Parayastriya.
Mumude Parayashya.
Please read.
Having won his kingdom and observed the birth of one grandson, competent to continue the noble tradition of his family, Maharaja Yudhishthira reigned peacefully and enjoyed uncommon opulence in cooperation with his younger brothers, who were all expert administrators to the common people.
Yeah.
Both Maharaja Yudhishthira and Arjuna were unhappy from the beginning of the battle, Kurukshetra, but even though they were unwilling to kill their own men in the fight, it had to be done as a matter of duty, for it was planned by the supreme will of the Lord Sri Krishna.
Yeah.
Battle.
So basically, they are very noble. So they were able to peacefully rule the country because they were guided by Brahmanas and Krishna. So naturally, the administration was perfect to the T, right? So they were very happy naturally because they are following the principles of Vedic principles. Evam griheshu shaktanam
Evam Griheshu Shaktanam
Pramattanam tadihaya
Pramattanam Tadihaya
Chakrama Abhignata
Satyakrama Vidya
Abhignataha
Kala Parama Dushtara.
Kalaha
Paramadushtara.
Paramadustra.
So 17th verse onwards, the instructions. So Vidura is now getting into play. He is going to start instructing over from 18th up to 30 plus verses, 35 verses. So it will be very powerful instructions. Let's through them. Yeah. Yeah. Please read translation.
Insurmountable eternal time imperceptibly overcomes those who are too much attached to family affairs and are always engrossed in their thought.
Nobody can stop time. Whether we may plan so many things about our family and all. Just like here, Dhṛtarāṣṭra, he lost his family. Everybody is lost, but still he's still hoping against hope, and he's just trying to enjoy life, whatever is remaining. So here the instruction is how time will take away everything. Yeah, some people are engrossed in their material affairs until the end of life, but time will take away everything. Yeah, time is fixed. That is this. So every second of human life is meant for making an ultimate solution to the problems of life. That is repetition of birth, death, and revolving in the cycle of 84 lakh species of life. Yeah. Vidurastad abhipretya
Vidurasta abhipretya
Dhṛtarāṣṭram abhāṣata
Dhṛtarāṣṭram
Dhṛtarāṣṭram
bhāṣata
avashtatata
Rajan nirgayatam sigram
Rajan
Rajan
nirgamayatam
Shikram
sikram
Pashyedam bhayamagatam.
Pashyedam
idam bhayam agatam.
Please read.
Mahatma Vidura knew all this, and therefore he addressed Dhṛtarāṣṭra, saying, "My dear king, please get out of here immediately. Do not delay. Just see how fear has overtaken you."
So sadhus, they don't really care, trying to please people. They're not bothered about that. Their goal is simple: to really help people come out of their clutches of illusion. So he is very straight to the point. My dear king, actually this is sarcastic. He is not a king right now. He already lost his kingdom. While he was a king temporarily, I mean, originally the king he is supposed to be the king. He's supposed to be the king, but because of his, deformities, he's blind by birth. So the kingdom was given to his brother, Pandu. Naturally, Pandu's sons will become the next heirs because Pandu was the king. However, Dhṛtarāṣṭra was established as the king interim until the Pandu's children become eligible to be the kings. But once he was established as the king, he got attached to it, and he made all attempts to kill the Pandu's children, and somehow wanted to keep his children as the kings of the future. But all those attempts have failed, and finally all his children were killed. And the people who tried to kill him are actually right now supporting his well-being and life. So it is at the mercy of these people who he tried to kill that he's living at this moment. Very unfortunate situation. At this time, he's not even a king, but Vidura sarcastically calling, "You think you are a king? My dear king, please get out of here immediately." Nobody says, if he's really a king, nobody can speak like that. But Vidura, just to bring Dhṛtarāṣṭra to his senses, he's just instructing very harshly. "My dear king, please get out of here immediately. Do not delay. Just see how fear has overtaken you." He's just trying to live, he's very old now, trying to just lead his comfortable life comfortably under the, with the with the children of Pandu, but actually he shouldn't leave for all that he had done to them. Yeah.
But what fear is he worried about? Because he knows that the Pandu sons are pious
Yes,
and
because he's old, it is primarily fear of death.
oh,
We will come to know in the over the rest of the verses. Right. Yeah, please read.
The word Rajan is especially addressed to Dhṛtarāṣṭra significantly. Dhṛtarāṣṭra was the eldest son of his father, and therefore, according to law, he was to be installed on the throne of Hastinapura. But because he was blind from birth, he was disqualified from his rightful claim. But he could not forget the bereavement, and his disappointment was somewhat compensated after the death of Pandu, his younger brother. His younger brother left behind him some minor children, and Dhṛtarāṣṭra became the natural guardian of them. But at heart, he wanted to become the factual king and hand the kingdom over to his own sons, headed by Duryodhana.
That was his ambition. We already discussed this point. So we'll skip.
Vidura therefore sarcastically addressed Dhṛtarāṣṭra as the king, which he was actually not. Everyone is the servant of eternal time, and therefore no one can be king in this material world. King means the person who can order.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, please read this one.
Vidura asked him to get out immediately if he wanted to be saved from the fearful situation which was approaching him fast. He did not ask Maharaja Yudhishthira in that way because he knew that a king like Maharaja Yudhishthira is aware of all the fearful situations of this flimsy world and would take care of himself in due course, even though Vidura might not be present at that time.
Yeah. So both Maharaj Yudhishthira is there and Dhṛtarāṣṭra are there when Vidura is speaking, but Vidura was pointing all these instructions towards Dhṛtarāṣṭra because he is the one who is not self-realized, who is not considerate about his material situation right now. On the other hand, Yudhishthira was fully fixed in Krishna consciousness, so he doesn't need to instruct him. Pratikriyana yasheha
Pratikriyana yaseha
Utaschet karhichit prabho
kutaschit karachit prabho
Sha Bhagavan Kala
sa esha bhagavan kalaha
Veshamna Samagata.
sarvesham naha
Samagataha.
This frightful situation cannot be removed by any person in this material world. My Lord, it is the Supreme Personality of Godhead as eternal time that has approached us all.
So I'm seeing a lot of you are silent participants. I'm not sure whether you are attentive or I want everybody to participate in the class. I know that you are hearing that way. Yeah, please. I see only like 4 or 5 devotees who are repeating. I'd like everybody to participate in reading translations. Yeah. So this frightful situation cannot be remediated by any person. What is that death that is going to come upon everybody? My Lord, it is the Supreme Personality of Godhead as eternal time that has approached us all. Nobody can stop Krishna. Kalosmin, Krishna says, I am time that devours everything. 10:34. So no one wants to die. However, the source of bodily suffering may be. Nobody wants to die because it is the nature of soul to not die. Right? That is the natural inclination. So because of the discord between soul and body, one feels anxiety when death is approaching. Pranay priyatamairapi
prane
Priyatamairapi
Sadhya viyujyeta
Sadhyo viyujyeta
Tanyair dhanadhibi.
Tanadihi.
Whoever is under the influence of supreme Kala, eternal time, must surrender his most dear life. And what to speak of other things such as wealth, honor, children, land, and home?
So Vidura is straight to the point, because he just came after full instructions from Sri Maitreya Muni. So he's giving those instructions to him. So all these are temporary: wealth, honor, children, land, home. Yeah. So what to speak of other things? Even your own life is at risk with time. In time, you are going to leave your body. So you should take care of your soul while you are alive in this human form of life. That is the instruction of Vidura, Mahatma Vidura. Pitru Bhratra Sahrit Putra. This is more graphical. Same instruction. Aste Vigatam Vayam. Atma Cha Jaraya Grashta. Rageham Upasase.
Your father, brother, well-wishers, and sons are all dead and passed away. You yourself have expended the major portion of your life. Your body is now overtaken by invalidity, and you are living in the home of another.
See, there are every reason for you to leave right now. That's what he's saying. Pitru Bhratra Sahrit Putra. You have lost everybody. Your father, your brother, Sahrit, your well-wishers, your children, everybody is gone. What are you doing here? Simply staying in the home of another means, because these are people who you try to kill. They are not your. Everybody knows that you attempted to kill them. He's going to speak those things in the next few verses. You attempted to kill Pandavas. How can you stay in their home? Right? You yourself expended major portion of life. You are already old, and your body is invalid. Your teeth is coming out. Yeah? Jarya Grasta means your body is so outdated now. Or what are you trying to achieve by staying here? Yeah, please read this. Yeah, actually we'll leave it because we covered this. Nobody can save it. Yeah. Andhapuraiva vadiro. Mandapragyascha sampratam. Shirnadanto mandagni. Saragha kafam udbhaham. Yeah, please read.
You have been blind from your very birth, and recently you have become hard of hearing. Your memory is shortened, and your intelligence is disturbed. Your teeth are loose, your liver is defective, and you are coughing up mucus.
The old age condition is mentioned here.
Symptoms of old age.
Self-explanatory. Aho mahi yashi jantor.
Aho mahi jantor.
Tasha yatha bhavan. Bhima pavarjitam pindam. Te grahapalavat. Dhṛtarāṣṭra especially considered Bhima as his, he's coming in the way of my son. So he had made several attempts to kill Bhima. So Vidura just, nailing the at the right point. He's trying to say, you are now, what you are eating, you are eating what is left over by Bhima. That is just going to incite him like anything. Yeah, please read.
Alas, how powerful are the hopes of living being to continue his life, Verily, you are living just like a household dog and are eating remnants of food given by Bhima.
Yeah. So how miserable your life is. You're eating like a dog. Dog is just because you're a dog. If you are a dog, you will be taken care by the family members. That is how your position is, because you are never a well-wisher for any of those people who are taking care of you. In fact, you attempted to kill them. So why are you even staying there? Yeah.
He had become popular in the true sense, yet he wanted to live comfortably in the house of Pandavas, of whom Bhima especially is mentioned because personally he killed two prominent sons of Dhṛtarāṣṭra, namely Duryodhana and Dushasana. These two sons were very much dear to him for the notorious and nefarious activities. And the Bhima is particularly pointed out because he killed these two pet sons.
Yeah. Just to incite him.
Prabhuji, one question on previous verse, 22. So if these symptoms anybody has, does it mean like, he's nearing to his life?
These symptoms, huh? You have been blind from your very birth.
Yeah.
Which symptom you are saying?
So like memory shortened, your intelligence is disturbed, your teeth are loose, your liver is defective.
Yeah.
So
what was the question?
So question is like, does it mean like, if somebody has this kind of symptoms, he's kind of nearing to the life?
Yeah, I mean, these are all symptoms of old age. When old age comes upon anybody, these are the symptoms. So one should realize life is short at the time. He should focus on the right things, which is basically Krishna consciousness. He should focus 100% on Krishna consciousness at the time, because whatever he's trying to enjoy with his senses are not going to be anymore available for consumption. Right?
Okay.
No point in trying to gratify any further the senses, because they're all getting old and useless.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, the position of Dhṛtarāṣṭra is quite precarious, because he is living, he lost his sons. He was, totally helpless, and he's just comfortably living in the house of Pandavas. While Pandavas were very respectful, they treat him nicely. Every day they feed him nicely, but still that is not the good position for Dhṛtarāṣṭra, because it is right time for him to pursue spiritual self-realization.
Sure. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Agnir Nistro Dattascha
Agnirnishto
Dhṛtarāṣṭra Dushita
Garodharashita
Tattair Ashubhikiyat.
Translation by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So there is no need to live a degraded life and subsist on the charity of those whom you tried to kill by arson and poisoning. You also insulted their married wife and usurped their kingdom and wealth.
His direct instructions. So he was blamed for all these things. I mean, blamed means he really did all this nonsense. So he tried to kill Pandavas with fire, arson, right, lac house, and specifically Bhima by poisoning when he was a child. Poisonous cake he tried to feed him, right? And he through his children insulted Draupadi. As the king, he has perfect rights to stop all these atrocities by his children. At that time, he said, everything is in the destiny. I'm unable to do anything. That is how he was trying to defend his actions. he was silent in all these atrocities. He, as the king, he could have stopped. As the real king, he could have stopped Duryodhana, Dussasana from doing all this nonsense, and could have fairly divided the land between Pandavas and Kauravas. All those opportunities were there. In fact, before this Kurukshetra war, initially Akrura was sent as a peace messenger to arrange for simple, some kingdoms to be given to Pandavas. He wouldn't listen to them. Akrura very clearly guides him. Dhṛtarāṣṭra, it's all in your hand. You know very well what is happening. You can just simply divide fairly between all the Pandavas, some land, and all of you brothers can together live happily. All the brothers can live happily together. Why don't you do that? He always said, destiny is very strong, and I'm unable to do anything against my children. I couldn't stop. Actually, what is happening is he was too attached to his children, and he didn't want to give right guidance. This is applicable to all grihasthas. When children go on the wrong path, we should be very alert and make sure they turn to the right direction at the right time. So because of his attachment to his children, in fact, he would always defend himself. It is as if the destiny was driving all of this. It is actually a wrong idea and concept. Your actions will give you the destiny, good or bad. It is not the destiny that drives your actions. See, he got it flipped. He knows all the Vedic instructions. It's not that he doesn't know anything. Knowledge is there, but execution is missing. He knows very well what is going on in his kingdom, what is their children doing, how they insulted Draupadi, how they usurped the land from Pandavas, how they cheated in the gambling match. All of this is very well known. And being the eldest and the king of Kauravas, he could have very well stopped all this nonsense. He didn't do all of that. He was blaming destiny.
But Prabhu, see, his sons were like more powerful than him. Right? Means they were not ordinary people. They had divine strength, right? So when your sons are powerful yet in the wrong yet poised in the wrong direction, then how can you stop?
That's true. See, there are great kings who did, for example, Vidura. When he was insulted by Duryodhana, he just left the family. He just went out for pilgrimage. He could have done that. He doesn't need to be participant in this.
No, but if he had done that, then Duryodhana would have done more atrocities, right?
He could have done. That is true. But
what else? I'm trying to understand what else would he have done.
So,
he was weak.
His reasoning, he never for once agreed that Duryodhana was wrong. That was his complete mistake, right?
Okay,
So in his words, he could have done. If as a father, he has all rights to, even Duryodhana, even though he was of those times at least they were respectful to their fathers. So he might have listened, but he was always siding on the side of Kurus or the Kauravas, right? He was always having, prejudice, driven by prejudice towards Kauravas. That was his mistake. And secondly, not just Akrura. Second peace mission was conducted by Lord Krishna himself. Even that failed. And when Lord Krishna was in the assembly, they tried to arrest.
Bind him.
Yeah, they tried to bind him. So even that failed. And finally, war was mandated. There is no other route but war. The war killed everybody.
One more thing, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah,
Hello?
go ahead.
Yeah, Prabhuji. So Dhṛtarāṣṭra, the way he has taken birth, so compared to Pandu he has more knowledge, more jnana. But Dhṛtarāṣṭra, since he has taken birth, so he did not have much knowledge so that he can discriminate. So what is good or bad? So just blindly he had the attachment towards his sons, and he has the fear of his sons losing the throne, right? So
Yes. No, actually, when Akrura tells about this thing, that you know all this very well,
yeah.
he understands very well. It's not about lack of discrimination. He knows what is going on. It's
Mm.
just that he is not acting on it.
Mm.
That was pointed out in some of the purports actually here, if you read through.
Mm.
So
Okay.
he has the knowledge. He understands what is going on. In fact, he praises Akrura that your words are so wise. In spite of praising, he wouldn't act on it. That is his attachments make him weak. So sometimes we hear a lot of instructions, but we don't act at all. Our life is still driven by our own attachments. So that is the instruction for us. Meaning, we need to change. We need to change our life fully in line with our instructions.
Yeah.
So Prabhu, is this only attachment, or it is his self-ego as well as wanted to enjoy the power that thought he never got initially?
Attachment to his children, he himself is very prejudiced towards his children. He wanted to enjoy the power. All of that is there. All Krishna conscious qualities are there.
To stick
Please read.
Yeah. To stick to family life to the end of one's human life is the grossest type of degradation, and there is an absolute need for the Vidhuras to educate such Dhṛtarāṣṭras even at the present moment.
Very powerful instruction.
Very powerful.
It is also for all of us. Once we advance in our age, we should focus on spiritual life. We don't need to like give up family and go elsewhere, but we should fully focus on Krishna consciousness, not just earning only, right? So that is the instruction for us. We should focus 100% on Krishna consciousness.
This is our Srila Prabhupada books.
After fulfilling your responsibilities, you should do that.
So what is the right age, Prabhuji? Of course, it's debatable, but what would be the right age when you start?
First thing is, ideally, you should clear your responsibilities. Once your children settle, I think that is, I would say, practical, because some people have children at a young age, some people have it at old age. Ideally, between, by 60, you should clear all those things. Ideally. 55 to 60, you should prepare for it. You should try to, settle yourself and try to focus with minimum means. You don't need to have, luxurious lifestyle and all after that, right? Simple life. Otherwise, you never know when, life, just like, Dhṛtarāṣṭra, he's very old at the time, he's still not realized. So we should not become like that.
So what is advisable to continue staying in the house or to go to a dham and live there?
It is, very individual problem. There are, we saw recently Arun Prabhu who left to India, Srirangam, here to settle there. A lot of devotees go to spiritual, dhams. Otherwise, you can also be you can go to, based on your instructions of your guru, right? Ideally, it should be driven by guru's instruction. Based on your capacity and your abilities, the guru will guide you. Maybe you can be a preacher in a city or a village, for example, right? Lot of devotees I know, they in India, after becoming like 55, 60 years, they go to a place in their village and they actually start conducting classes at their home. And then they build a center, right? And start preaching there. So the whole village gets benefited from their knowledge and, their service. So like that, we can do. We can plan some return. We need to plan right now. We cannot wait till when we are 55, 60, right? Try to wrap things up, get children educated, married. Sometimes even for Prabhupada, he says in the purport down. He says he had to cheat his family. He says, he couldn't fulfill all his responsibilities for family because of the call of Guru. He has to immediately leave family life and go take sannyas. And he's already 57 by the time, 57, 60, I think, almost. But
so Prabhu, this is a question that we all should ask our Guru Maharaj, right? Means probably,
yes, ideally it should be by.
He has a plan for us.
Perfect. Yeah. But we should mentally be also renounced. I mean, like we should be prepared ourselves.
Before we ask, we should be ready. Yeah.
We should be ready, because you go and ask without any preparation. They say, go stay back in your home for some more. Yeah. We should understand we need to prioritize spiritual life, right? Because anything you have in this world is going to be given up, and all this is temporary, right? We should know, because in our case, mostly the family is devotee, wife and husband. So together we can also do services, right? In case of Prabhupada, he is all alone at the time. His wife was not cooperative spiritually. So he had to come out. But for many of us, it's not the case. Yeah. Tashyapatava dehoyam.
Tashyapatava dehoyam.
Panasya jijivisho.
Kurpanasya jijivisho.
Raiti anichato jirno.
Parikanichato jirno.
Vasasi iva.
Jarayavasi iva.
Despite your unwillingness to die and your desire to live, even at the cost of honor and prestige, your miserly body will certainly dwindle and deteriorate like an old garment.
Whether you like it or not, your body is going to be like an old garment. So time is going to take away everything. That's what. There is no honor and prestige for him. He just spoke about the atrocities committed by him. What is the honor and prestige for the Dhṛtarāṣṭra? Right? Very powerful purport. Please read.
The words Kripanasya jijiviso are significant. There are two classes of men. One is called the Kripana and the other is called the Brahmana. The Kripana, or the miserly man, has no estimation of his material body, but the Brahmana has a true estimation of himself and the material body. The Kripana, having a wrong estimation of his material body, wants to enjoy sense gratification with his utmost strength, and even in old age, he wants to become a young man by medical treatment or otherwise.
Let's talk about how Dhṛtarāṣṭra is trying to live through his old age. Here, Brahmana is Vidura and Kripana is Dhṛtarāṣṭra. See here, Prabhupada mentioned that. We will not read that.
Yeah. Shila Prabhupada ki jai.
Gataswardham imam deham.
Gataswartam imam deham.
Rakto mukta bandhava.
Virakto mukta bandhava.
Vignata gate jahyat.
Avignata gate jahyat.
Vaidhira udahrita.
Savaidhira udahrita.
Telling him become a dhira.
He is called undisturbed who goes to an unknown remote place and freed from all obligation quits his material body when it has become useless.
Undisturbed. Undisturbed means dhira. Gataswardham imam deham. Virakto mukta bandhana. So one should, in those days, at least in the past, in the previous ages, people used to just leave the place. This is what Kardamuni, all the lineage, so many great devotees have done that. Even Prithu Maharaj, he was considered incarnation of God. The way he left the body, he left everybody, family and everything, and he went to